Hi, in the previous video, we have learned the implementation and running time efficiency of the insertion sort algorithm. So today we're gonna see an alternative approach to the sorting problems, which turns out to be more efficient one. Okay, so we are considering a divide and conquer approach. So the so-called divide and conquer approach, it will break the problems into several smaller sub-problems. Okay, and those sub-problems, they are kind of similar to the original problem, but only smaller in size. Okay, so they are in nature the same type of problems, but of smaller sizes. And after we breaking them into the smaller sizes sub-problems, then we will solve them in a recursive way, in a recursive style. And after all the sub-problems are solved, what we need to do is to combine these solutions. So we create a solution to the original problem. Okay, so the original problem is of bigger size of the sub-problems. So this is a very short one-sentence description of the so-called divide and conquer approach. And regarding this, with respect to this approach, we have a specific chapter in the coming video lectures for the family of divide and conquer algorithms. Okay, so we mentioned that we need to solve the sub-problems in a recursive style. So a recursive algorithm is a way to solve a problem by calling the algorithms themselves recursively for one or more times. Okay, so we'll see later. We'll see that in the pseudocode of the implementation, we will see that a function or a procedure calling the function or procedure itself. So to summarize, the divide and conquer paradigm involves 3 steps. Okay, first is the divide step. First, divide. Okay. Second, conquer. So the conquer refers to the step that the sub-problems are solved in a recursive style. Okay, and we need to, sometimes when the sub-problems are not small enough, we need to recursively, or we need to further split them into even smaller ones. Okay, so until the sub-problem size is small enough, then we just solve it in a straightforward manner. That is also a typical characteristic of the recursive algorithms. So, and a recursive algorithm always need to have a boundary. Otherwise, the recursion will never stop, right? We cannot simply split the problems infinitely. At some point, we will eventually hit the smallest possible problem. And for those smallest subproblems, we just need to solve them straightforward. But we don't need to split them anymore, okay? Okay, so here's the conquer step. And the third step is the combine step, okay? So the solution to a subproblem, after we obtain all the solutions, we simply need to combine the solutions, and those solutions together will be the one that solves the original problem. Okay, so these are a bit abstract concepts, okay, abstract ideas in our mind. And for the concrete problem of sorting problems, the merge sort algorithm that we are going to introduce today is a divide and conquer algorithm, okay? And its worst running time is much less than insertion sort, okay? So as a brief review, we know that in the worst case of insertion sorts, we know that the running time can be described by a quadratic function, right? The t of n function can be written in like big theta of n squared. And then the big theta of n squared means some sort of quadratic functions without caring too much about the coefficients, the lower order terms, or the constant terms. Okay, and we'll see how the merge sorts reaches such a better efficiency. Okay. All right, let's take a step further. So the ideas of merge sorts, if we follow the divide and conquer and combine paradigm of this particular type of algorithms, we need to first divide the sorting problem into sub-problems, right? The problem we want to solve is a sorting problem. So we need to, the input is an n element sequence or n element array, and we need to sort it. Okay, so we simply divide the problem into two subsequences, and each subsequence contain half the elements in the original one. Okay, if the original inputs has that many elements, then the subproblem has n/2 elements. So that's a divide. And conquer. Conquer means we solve the two subsequences recursively using the merge sort algorithm that we are defining right now. Okay, so this is a typical recursive thinking. We are in the process of defining an algorithm, we call it algorithm itself. So this is a very typical recursive thoughts. Okay, anyway, that's conquer step. Okay, let's just assume that we have solved the subproblems. And after that, after conquer step, we need to combine the two already sorted subsequences. Okay, so we assume that the two subsequences are already sorted. Then we just need to merge them. Okay, we use the word merge by instead of combine. So we need to merge the two sorted sequences in order to produce a longer or a complete answer to the original sequence, or to the original sorting problem. All right, so there's a recursion happening here, right, in the conquer step. So a recursion will reach the bottom when the sequence to be sorted has the minimal size, right? In the case of sorting problem, if you want to sort a sequence of just one element, we don't need to think about it, right? If the input is just one element, then we just simply return the element. We say that it's already sorted, right? So if the sequence contains more than one element, say if we are given two elements, then we need to do a simple comparison, right? That means we need to do something, right? We need to think about it. But for the smaller case, for the one element input, we don't need to do anything. We just return it, okay? So in the case here, the smallest subproblem is of size 1. And in this case, there's no work to be done, okay? So, and the key is to merge the two sorted sequences in a combined step, right? We need to figure out how to combine two already sorted subsequences. So that's the practical problem we need to solve, right? In order to make such an algorithm work, we need to figure out the details, how we merge two already sorted subproblems into a sorted longer sequences that contain all the elements in two parts. Okay, so here, the technical parts, we will introduce an auxiliary procedure. Okay, so this is not the final merge sort procedure, but it's called merge. Okay, note the name here, there's no sort here. So this procedure only conducts the combine step. It only fulfills the merge step, the combining step. Okay, and this procedure takes several parameters, several arguments as inputs, right? So the first parameter, A, it is an array, okay? So A is an array, just like the parameter that the insertion sort takes. And there are three other parameters, okay? P and Q and R. So these are integer numbers. P, Q, R are integer numbers. They are the indices of the array, okay? And they are in such an order that P is the smallest one, and R is the largest one, and Q is somewhere in between, okay? That's the order P, Q, R means. And we also assume that the sub-arrays, right? We have three indices in the array. So we have two sub-arrays. We assume that the sub-array, the first sub-array from P, from index P, from index P to index Q, it is already sorted. And the second sub-array from Q plus 1 to R, it is also in sorted order. Okay, so that's the assumption of the combining step, right? We assume that the two sub-problems are already solved. Okay, and what this procedure does is to form a single sorted sub-array to replace the current sub-array from P to R. Okay, so after the procedure is called, everything between P and R is in sorted order. Okay, so that's basically what this procedure will achieve. And in the next slide, we will show the pseudocode. We will show how we design the merge sorts, the ideas of the merge algorithm, and then we will show a pseudocode implementation of it.